What a year this has been, and I just want to say I'm grateful.
Greetings, friends. Welcome to this special legacy edition of Embracing Moments of Black History. Today, we honor the life and legacy of William H. Burrus, a trailblazer whose leadership helped shape history for working families across the nation. William Burrus was born in Wheeling, West Virginia, during a time when segregation was still a reality. He went on to serve our country in the United States Army, and after his military service, began what would become a historic journey with the United States Postal Service. Starting as a distribution clerk in Cleveland, Ohio, he rose through the ranks with determination, courage, and conviction until he became the first African American ever elected by direct ballot to serve as president of the American Postal Workers Union, representing hundreds of thousands of workers nationwide. His leadership extended far beyond one title. He was a national executive, a labor advocate, a champion for worker safety, and a defender of dignity in the workplace. His influence reached not only across America, but around the world through his international labor leadership. And so today, I'm joined by someone who carries that legacy personally. Someone who knew him not only as a history maker, but as a father. Please join me in welcoming one of William Burrus's daughters and my cousin, Christy Burrus. Christy, thank you for joining me today to share the legacy of your father.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited about this, Christy. You know,
Yes.
we're all still super proud about I called him Buster because
Many did.
we're gonna give respect and call him who he is, William H. Burrus, today, and give
Yes,
honor where honor is due. Do you mind if I tell my audience a little bit about you?
absolutely.
So,
Just a little.
just a little. So, Christy is the youngest of four sisters and the mother of four children, two sons and two daughters. She honors the memory of her daughters through her tireless community work as a multifaceted leader dedicated to transformation and advocacy. She is also the author of two books entitled The Power of Choice and Standing in the Midst. Christy, you've translated your life experience into a mission of service as a certified life coach, a motivational speaker, and activist. Your voice has reached audiences from local television and radio all the way to the halls of Capitol Hill, where you have successfully championed some legislation in your daughter's name, Chrissia and Henderson Burrus.
Yes.
Christy, we're honored to learn from you today. Would you share with our audience what your broadcast message is and what the resolution you championed on behalf of your daughters represents?
Yes. Yes. So my youngest daughter, her name was Chrissia. She was taken from my family from Homicide in 2019. And I championed a resolution, House Bill 839, in her honor. And that House Bill depicts her life, which truly was a legend in and of itself. So, all the way through the walls of our local Capitol Hill on the landmark of Richmond, Virginia, a House bill was championed in her name. And again, it was House Bill 839, and it literally depicts her life that was truly a legend as she studied criminal justice, the true landmark that took her out. The justice system is the one that represents why she was taken.
Wow. And you were also able to secure a boulder on the
Absolutely.
campus of Virginia. Tell us about
She
that.
was. Absolutely. I partnered with Dr. Lucas, who is the president of Virginia Union University, a college of which she studied criminal justice. He, along with the board of directors, approved a boulder. Now, I need to mention again the legend that she was or is. Her name is. Never in the history of that campus is there a past president, is there a past faculty member, is there a past graduate that has a boulder on their soil, but not for my daughter's name, that will forever rest on their soil, depicted as her name on a 700-pound boulder,
Wow.
rests her forever mentioned with her name, Chrysia and Sarah Henderson Burrus, depicted forever as the first acknowledged, represented, voted, and approved
Mm,
by
mm,
the
mm,
board of
mm,
directors of
mm,
Virginia
mm,
Union
mm.
University.
Wow. That's powerful. And
Abs-
a first, another
Absolutely.
first.
We are a family of firsts.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And that has been the root of my Embracing Moments of Black History series this year, because like you said, our family is a family of first. And
Absolutely.
so um, let's talk about your dad,
That's why
William
we're here.
Burrus. That is why we're here. Look, just for the benefit of my audience, y'all don't know, she took me through. She didn't want me to tell y'all nothing about her. All she wanted me to do was get to William H. Burrus, and that's it. But
My
you know,
daddy.
there he is.
My daddy.
There he is. But I think that, so far we have absolutely spoke to how his legacy is continuing through you and other family members. We couldn't get everybody on today, but let's talk about him a little bit. Tell us something about your dad that people wouldn't know from all his accomplishments.
As much as we do know, that was publicized in Essence magazine as he was voted the top 100 influential African Americans.
Mhm.
Behind the scenes at home, he worked just as hard. I'm reminded of how he manually cut his front yard with a push mower in his 70s. I'm reminded of how he hated crabgrass and would stop every so many feet to pluck crabgrass out of his yard with a hoe and plop it in his trash bags that laid over his right or left shoulder. I'm remiss of which one it was. And then restart his manual push mower to
Wow.
continue along his mission. And mind you, he had 7 or 8 acres, of which he only labored in the front because his front was his image. His back he hired out. So let it be known, his laboring wasn't just for the people that voted him in. His laboring continued because that's who he was, in and out of the public eye. He was a hard working man.
Wow. Now, our dads were first cousins.
Yeah,
And what's funny is, as you're telling the story about him cutting the grass, my dad was the exact same way about the
yeah,
lawns. Oh my goodness,
yeah,
that is
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
So tell me this. When did you realize that your father wasn't just successful, but he was actually a historic figure?
Um, I think in childhood, growing up in the city of Cleveland Heights, when everyone around me started thinking we were rich, they were looking at our silver Cadillacs that he would get a new one of every time he was reelected, which, by the way, was every 3 years. People started looking up at us, and it was normal for us. We didn't know anything different. We grew up with him. He was a normal guy. He
Mhm.
wore Wrangler jeans and Reebok tennis shoes, and he would fold the back of them down. It was just normal. The onlooker didn't think we were normal. Um, I started realizing very quickly and at a very young age that he was someone to look up to. And it was reinforced at the conventions when he was sworn into office, when you had these dignitaries that
Mhm,
would show up.
mhm,
And
mhm.
then when I matured in age and I started seeing him pictured with Bill Clinton and seeing him pictured in his office with the late and great Jesse Jackson and seeing Christmas cards with the wonderful President Barack Obama and seeing all of these dignitaries that became acquaintances with my father
Wow.
just made me honor, respect, and appreciate the accomplishments that he made. And I'm not sure if your viewing audience can see above my forehead, but he's on the 39-cent postal stamp.
Hey.
And what an honor that is for me to say my father is on the 39-cent postal stamp.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And let it be also known, he was daddy to me. He wasn't anybody but daddy to me.
What was he like at home?
A diplomat, an authoritarian, you know, someone that had big hands.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
dare not cross.
yeah, yeah. I know I was very quiet in them days around him. He exuded that kind of energy, and I didn't want to mess with it, okay?
Someone that demanded attention.
Yeah.
I never got a whooping. Let that be known because his authority transcended.
Mhm, mhm.
For
Wow.
you definitely gave him the respect he deserved.
Mhm, mhm,
But
mhm.
he was a leader
Yeah. What did he teach you about character?
that it's earned, um, and that you definitely, once you have it, you wear it. And it doesn't matter who believes in it, as long as you hoist the character that you have, no one can ever diminish your character.
Wow.
No one. He was born, as your introduction alluded, in the Jim Crow era.
Mhm.
And his character transcended through so much of his valleys that was experienced for him.
Right, right.
And his character withstood his journeys. I did a lot of homework through his My Journey book, some of which was sad to find out about, some of which was reintroduction of what I tucked away in my mental. But his character withstood, and I concluded with so much pride and admiration from his beginning to his end depicted in My Journey, that the character that he stood for, he planted in all of us. So what I've learned is character can't be lost once you have it, and no one can take that away from you.
Wow. Wow. What did leadership cost him personally?
Some adversarial attacks. I'm reminded of, which better him than me. His skin is a whole lot thicker than mine. The moment he chose to retire, he endorsed his successor. And I remember visiting him and him doing some campaigning for his successor. And one of the public statements that someone had wrote said Burrus needs to be quiet and enjoy his retirement.
Wow.
And I remember saying to him, better your skin than mine. As others were asking me to run for city council, I said, Daddy, I could never do it because they got one time to say Burrus to me. Yeah, they got one time. My skin is not quite that thick.
Mm-hmm.
So leadership cost him a lot of adversarial attacks.
Mm-hmm.
But he was so strong and poised, again, going back in his character, that at the end of the day, it cost him nothing but strength that he earned and support that he gained, that his expense, his currency wasn't lost. His leadership won at the end of the day, and he was able to bow out with grace.
Yeah.
So it cost him nothing at the end of the day. It gained him a lot of enemies. So the cost was nothing but enemies. But the gain was worth the lesson, which basically was, I won.
Hey, yes, yes.
I won.
Now, did you see these sacrifices happening firsthand, or did you just like really get the full understanding of them later in life?
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
some of them I saw them happening in real time.
Mm-hmm.
He and I would talk about it in his office. One of the lessons he said to me was a profound lesson. Both of my sons, actually, used to work with him in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them were students of my father.
Yeah.
And they learned a lot from him. My youngest was getting dressed to work with my father this particular summer. And my father was the first to come out, dressed and ready to go to work. And I said to him, are you ready to get this day behind you? And he said, if I had it my way, I would go back to yesterday. And I'm not as wise. So I repeated the question and echoing in my head, what happened yesterday? Did you meet with a dignitary? Did you testify on Capitol Hill? trying to repeat what that question could have meant to him and why did he give me that answer. Surrendering, I said, why? Why do you say that? And he said, every day I get ahead of me is a day closer to my end. So I said all that to say how guilty we are to accelerate in statement to a time and place in which we may never arrive at. How guilty are we to say, I can't wait till the weekend, or I can't wait till summer break, or I can't wait till the winter is over, or I can't wait till this perceived time and place in the future that we may never get to, instead of appreciating and respecting today. Because that's all, or this very second, because that's all we're guaranteed.
Wow.
So to answer your question, did I see it in real time? Yes. Though how he responded to adversarial attacks was just that degree of lessons. His ability to process attacks was just that deep and just that thoughtful. He never thought about the negative, even in adversarial attacks. He thought about how can I manage it where I can transfer the negative to work for the betterment of my today.
Wow. That's rich. That
Yeah,
is rich. And that he demonstrated in his drive and in his fight for the workers that
yeah.
he represented uh, as a labor advocate. What drove him to fight for workers the way he did?
He joined his first union year one of his postal clerk experience. And I think it was just in him. You know, he worked at Fulton National Bank as a um, custodial worker with his dad when he was a teenager. And I think from that, from his spit shining experience as a teenager, early teenager with his dad, from looking at the um, segregated experiences, wanting better for African Americans as a young boy, being told in when he joined the military with his best friend that he couldn't sit on the bus as he was leaving to go to the military because he was sitting among Caucasians. He had to move to a different bus. In his younger years, before graduating from high school, never going to a library, he wanted a public library. He wanted more for people. So when he joined as a postal clerk, he joined a union fighting for Black
Mm-hmm.
people. That's what the union was formed for. And from that one union experience, he joined another union, joined another union, joined another union. And passively within him, he just simply wanted to fight for not only an integrated community, but what's best for the people.
Yeah. Yeah. Christy, what belief system anchored him?
Equality. Equality. He wasn't a spiritual man. He didn't go to church. It wasn't that he didn't believe, but he didn't go to church for worship. But he absolutely believed in equality. He did not believe that the color of his skin meant I was any different.
Mm.
So equality and justice for all is what anchored him.
Wow. Where did his courage come from?
Fight. He had to fight without even realizing he was fighting. You know, his K through 12 was natural because he went to a segregated school,
Mhm.
graduating summa cum laude.
Wow.
So that wasn't a fight for him. But when he went to the military and the fight for that, but through his journey with all of what he had to go through with his working career and fighting through those journeys, he fought because of the color of his skin, selling hot dogs and not being able to go inside of the building to purchase a hot dog because of the color of his skin. And realizing as I'm spit shining a shoe, I have to look to my right and see for colored only on a restroom sign. How degrading that was. So while it wasn't a fight because it was advertised, it was an emotional fight. So his fight gave him courage to persevere and fight for equality and justice for all.
Wow. That's powerful. What do you think his life message to this generation would be?
Whatever your dream is, don't stop dreaming. Whatever you aspire to do, you can do it. Hard work perseveres.
Hmm. You have grandchildren, yes?
I do. 10, 6, 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what does legacy mean to you personally now?
You know, my oldest son and I were talking about this just the other day because I'm a Bible believer. And I believe not only in what my children have, they're accomplished. You know, they don't need me,
Yes,
right?
you are.
But I believe biblically that you profess to be a man when you leave something for your children's children,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
So a man biblically isn't man gender, but it's mankind. So legacy for me is leaving something for my children's children. And I'm a fighter for leaving something behind for my children's children. I want my grandchildren to say, my grandma did something, made a mark, fought for this, showed me this is possible, left this mark, drove this change, made this decision, shown me this is possible, drove this directive, did something, and shown me this change could happen. That to me is what I could leave for my grandchildren. And that's what I'm fighting for. My son is like their father, my eldest. My youngest doesn't have children. My eldest is like, Ma, and I'm like, I don't really care what you think. You know what I mean? I need to do this for my children's children,
mhm.
because to me, that's my role as a grandma.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is
Yeah,
awesome.
I got to do it for my grandchildren.
Yeah.
And I have one granddaughter, and I'm a jury person, and and I have one granddaughter, right? So I'm like, just please, if nothing else, just don't get rid of all my stuff. I got a lot of stuff.
Give her the jury.
I got a lot of stuff. I got a lot of stuff. Leave my stuff to my granddaughter. You know what I mean? Keep it.
Yeah. Wow.
One day it'll mean something to her.
Wow. This has really, I've been getting some really powerful responses in the chat, which I'll share with you. People are saying this is awesome, and that he truly is a history maker, and that character is absolutely important, and that you have been sharing some jewels of wisdom today. And in closing, to this legacy edition, let me ask you one more question. If your father could speak to us today, what would he want us to remember?
Some of what he fought for wasn't acknowledged until after he passed.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically speaking, it was to be inducted into the West Virginia Hall of Fame. And it wasn't so much that he fought for it. You had said in his introduction he was born and raised in West Virginia. He thought West Virginia didn't want him. They didn't show that they did until after he passed. His statement to us would be, no matter what you're fighting for, continue the fight. Let's look at Martin Luther King. All of his I have a dream never came to pass while he was living, right? My father's induction in West Virginia's Hall of Fame never came to pass until after his passing, right? So no matter what you're fighting for, the fight may not be for you to see it. You may not see it. So your journey may not be for you. My efforts for my daughter is not for my daughter to see. It's for every other life that's living today for the benefit of others. So my father's statement to us would be, continue the fight. There's other people that benefit from your journey. There's other people to benefit from your effort. So don't look inward. Look at the purpose. Look at the objective. Continue the mission, because there's a purpose behind the work. And that's what his message would be.
Wow. Christy, thank you so much for sharing your father with us today.
Yes.
Not just the history, but the heart behind his story.
Yes.
We really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Legends may not live forever, but legacy lives on in the lives it touches. Thank you for joining us today for this week's edition of Embracing Moments of Black History. Thank you to those who have been a part of our live audience. We appreciate you, the Barkers, Valerie. Remember, friends, you're not on this journey alone. Join me next Saturday for our final Black History feature, honoring another trailblazing legacy. And let's embrace these moments together.